Hello everyone, Daniel here from dshredmusic, and today we're addressing a piece of knowledge every guitar player should know at least the basics of. Throughout my years as a musician, one of the most common complaints I've heard goes among the lines of how frustrating it is to change the strings of a Floyd guitar. By now, you've probably heard a handful of guitar players say they love what it offers and what it can do, but they just hate the fact of how difficult and time-consuming it can be to keep the instrument in shape. And this is what we're here for today, so buckle up and let's get to it. First things first, what do we need for this? Easy. A cutting plier, to be able to remove string leftovers and flimsy tips. A cross-slot screwdriver, in case you need to open the back plate of the guitar for spring adjustment. A set of metric hex keys, these are a must-have practically all the time. Optionally, a string winder makes you do your job so much faster. And your preferred set of strings, of course. The first part of the process involves choosing a 3mm hex key to loosen the screws off your locking nut. Be careful not to apply more pressure than necessary, since these screws are made of aluminum and they're very likely to deform permanently under high amounts of stress. For string removal purposes, feel free to take out the entire clamp set out of the locking nut. It is also very useful to have a magnetic tray at your disposal to avoid losing screws and other small pieces in the process. Next, with the same 3mm hex key, we're going to carefully loosen the string locking screws on the lower part of the bridge. I always recommend to use your whammy bar to carefully dip down the strings and mitigate pressure while you do this, in order to avoid strings snapping in a dangerous way. Loosen up all 6 at once while dipping down makes things faster. That way, you just do it once and take them all out after lowering the whammy bar. All while staying completely free of any dangerous whiplashes from one of the strings. Once we've done that, we'll be perfectly able to manually remove the strings completely out of our guitar. For dumping purposes, it's always practical to roll up all 6 strings together in a similar way to that in which they came from inside the package. It really helps to have things less messy inside your trash bin. And now, we're ready to put the new set of strings in motion. Before putting each string on, always cut around 2 to 3 inches of the tip of the string beforehand. This is done because the insert blocks of your bridge are the ones applying shear pressure to the string to keep them in place, instead of just the string ball and the tuner pulling it up in opposite directions. The catch with this is that the tip of the string is actually flimsier than the rest of it, because the outer layers of which the string is made of actually fade out sooner than the inner ones. It is always a rule of thumb to start from the tuner. Before getting the strings into the insert blocks, always remember to use your whammy bar to dip down the bridge, just like we did before. Hold it steadily as if it was your life, since a mistake here can end up making bruises to your guitar on the borders of the bridge slot. Always make sure the tip of the string touches the bottom of the insert lock's cavity to have a sturdier grip. Use your fingers to present it, and then gently adjust the string locking screw with your other hand until it holds the string firmly. Once you do that, you may proceed to make the final adjustment with your 3mm hex key. Now you can head back to the tuner and use your string winder to tighten up the string until it goes straight. Not too tight, we're not looking to tune anything so far. This is exactly the same process that we'll be repeating until we get all 6 new strings straight. Now that we have all 6 strings ready to be tuned, what we want to do is to tune them up all together gently and observe the angle on the base of the bridge carefully. Most Floyd Rose original bridges want to be exactly parallel to the surface of your guitar's body. On the case of this Ibanez with an edge tremolo, the angle ends up being a bit higher because of the bridge's geometry. For this guitar, the final angle has to be somewhere close to 10 degrees. Be mindful, all 6 strings will be making the teamwork to get the bridge to its proper angle. Tightening up one string in excess will end up snapping it out before we can even tune it. And this is one of the most common beginner mistakes to make when you change strings for the first time. In here, you can also get the help of a tuner, in order not to surpass the tone your string should be at the end of the process. You can take that tone as a reference to the point of tension your string must not surpass. Now, to the tuning part. Here's where it gets a bit complicated. Floyd Rose guitar can be visualized as a resemblance of a zero resistance force diagram. Basically, the strings make tension in one direction while the springs below the backplate of your guitar take the other direction. And it is your duty to find the spot where the strings are in tune while the bridge's angle we mentioned earlier is still in place. This is done throughout a constant iteration of the tune on all 6 strings at the very same time. All of this while keeping in mind that tuning up one string will tune down the others to some extent. With experience, you end up learning how to play the tune of all 6 strings, and you develop a sense to learn when it's better to tune down a string that is higher instead of tuning up a string that is lower. Useful tips. The lower strings are the ones applying more pressure to the bridge, and these have a more drastic effect on what we previously explained. This guide contemplates the fact that your Floyd Rose guitar is either new and recently went out of the factory, or it has been through a setup process recently. Otherwise, there are situations where you won't be able to find the correct tune without messing up the bridge's proper angle. Should this be the case, your guitar needs attention of an experienced luthier or guitar tech. This is the part of the process we do not recommend you do it yourself. Floyd Rose guitars are not designed to be constantly change of tuning. A change of tuning will mean a change in the amount of pressure the strings do over your bridge. Without adjusting the bridge springs in the process, you will be facing a series of discomforts while playing, as well as potential fret buzz that will compromise the sound and performance. Should the case be you want to play a guitar in a different tuning, we do recommend you take it to an experienced guitar tech for a complete setup under another tuning. And this wraps it up for today. I really hope this helps you in the future and that you have enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe in the button below and to follow me on my social media to stay tuned for more content like this. I have been Daniel, and it has been a pleasure to share this knowledge with you. Till next time.